Hello and welcome to Shambles FC, the Arsenal match review right here on shamblesfc.com. And that is game, set, and match for Arsenal against Leeds United. A thrilling and convincing 5-0 victory for the Gunners at home. And yes, they are back. Also, the signing of Eberiche Eze just made it that much more sweeter. He looks great in red and white. And also, you got to put some respect on Victor Glockeres' name because that goal from open play was incredible. The start of the first half was pretty good, but the concerns were there that we haven't scored a goal from open play. Of course, it was just early days, second game of the season. Should we be worried? I don't know. But finally, the floodgates opened and Victor Glockeres came in hot and heavy with that goal. And we're going to speak about it some more here on the match review with AJ. But what a game. What a just sensational way to start the weekend. So let's get right into it. All right, AJ, we are back, man. And this time on Shambles FC. How you been, man?
It has been a long time, Mario. It is great to see you. Miss talking about the Arsenal and football with you, so appreciate you starting this up again. And I love the new name, Shambles FC.
Well, yeah, it's obviously Arsenal haven't been in shambles for a long time, being second in the last 3 seasons. But I'm thinking about the darker times, and even during those last 3 seasons that they were in second, there was a bit of shambles there. Obviously losing it to Man City of that first of the three, and you know what? So still a bit of shambles from depending on who you speak to, but yeah, it's still Arsenal at heart, but with other things. We have the weekly wrap up show that I do on on Thursdays, I should say. But yeah, mostly talking about Arsenal, and what better way to start our home defense than to talk against Leeds with you. So thank you so much for coming in and taking the time to come on and doing it with me.
Of course, man, appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
So let's get right into it. I mean, the Arsenal lineup over last week, only two, sort of major changes. Timber coming in for Ben White, and then Madueke, his first home start in a professional, in a competitive match over Martinelli, and then obviously Gyökeres leading the line. How did you fare like that starting lineup?
Yeah, I thought it was really good. I was a little surprised that we saw Madueke at the start as the left winger. I know that, we were bringing him in to be able to be backup cover for Saka on the right wing, and then also potentially be able to start some games at the left wing. So I knew that it was going to happen at some point, that we were kind of progressing towards that as Martinelli and Trossard, aren't performing at their highest level. But just was surprised that game week two, we're already starting Madueke. But I thought he actually did surprisingly well. I think
Mm,
even better when he did move to the right wing,
mm.
which I'm sure we'll get to. But even on the left wing, I think a few of those counterattacking moments, I don't think I realized quite how fast and physical he is too.
Yeah, you know what? I to be honest, I wasn't surprised. I think Martinelli over the preseason has been poor, and I know that us as Arsenal fans, we can be very harsh on players, but you start to see. Well, I've recently seen in the last couple of seasons his decline. In recent games, and not really being so decisive in his movement. And I thought Madueke coming in on the left flank was really good. He had some really cheeky plays, some really good passes, very fast, and like you said, very strong as well. So I was happy that he came on. And we could talk a little bit more about him as we progress. But yeah, overall, I think the lineup was really strong. The bench just looked absolutely stellar. Like,
Oh yeah, compared to last year where we were having, Butler Oyedeji, who is like a 21, 22-year-old academy Arsenal player, but basically hadn't gotten any games in there. Cabia, we had some, basically players who aren't going to make it at Arsenal compared to this, where, we're still leaving people at home like Zinchenko and I know it looked like Ben White might have been injured or out too. I saw he wasn't on the bench either. But no, it's super strong bench, and to even later in the game not even bring on the likes of Kivior or Marino, shows the quality and depth that we have now.
That's insane, but it's also troubling at the same time because, like you've mentioned, fringe players that could possibly be moving on. With the transfer still open. But the surprising one for me was 15-year-old Max Dowman, like 100. And I know we'll get to him coming in and having some minutes off the bench, but wow, like he is the real deal.
No, he's insane. I mean, you saw him, last season in first team training, but never getting a first team game. And then preseason just lit up the world. Everybody's saying he's the best 15-year-old. And then now finally actually getting his debut in a Premier League game. Second youngest ever player to do it. The first youngest was Nwaneri. So
Yeah.
both Arsenal players, pretty incredible.
Yeah, and then we can't forget about the signing. Probably I mean, everybody has been talking about that he's probably the signing of the season. Although I'd like to debate that a little bit, and I want to pick your brain about Martin Zubimendi, who I think is like the silent sleeper, like the silent signing of the transfer window period. But Eze coming in, and I mean, that's huge. It's a huge hijack from Spurs. What's your take on that? I was certainly surprised because I thought he was going to Spurs.
Yeah, I thought, obviously we were linked with him earlier in the summer, and it sounded like everything was agreed, personal terms, at least on the player side of it, wanting to come to Arsenal. But then just looking at the positions of need that we needed, the money that we had already spent on all of our other six signings, and then the fact that he was so heavily linked to Spurs, I thought that, that ship had sailed, which I was sad about because, I think we all wanted that homecoming for our man Eze. But no, it felt great. And, so much sweeter because it was a hijack, a little Sol Campbell-esque moment from Spurs. Made it even sweeter. But yeah, interested to see where he ends up fitting in. I've heard a lot of people say, he's a great player. He'll fit in wherever, which I agree. And, I think the love story behind it, I'm extremely excited about him coming home. But where he does fit in, I mean, I think it is a question that we have because he's not an out-and-out left winger where he's just going to beat you for pace. Not that Trossard was necessarily either when he played there,
Right.
but he still was maybe a little bit more of a winger than Eze. So, and then in the 10, we have Ødegaard, Nwaneri, and now Dowman. I know he's been playing right wing, but he's coming through as well. So it'll be interesting to see where he plays, but it doesn't matter. I'm just happy that he's here.
Well, I mean, he could be playing, that number 10, that Odie role, because and we'll get into, him coming off, because of that injury to the shoulder there. But yeah, he could potentially, even start for Odie or Waneri, who knows? But yeah, curious to get your thoughts on that a little bit later when we talk about the transfer and how Arsenal has fared, because I'd like to get your opinion on it. But I guess starting off with the first half, there was some early encouragement, from taking shots outside the box. As always, Arsenal like to walk the ball into the back of the net, and there was certainly some shooting taking place outside the box, which was incredible. Arsenal did start strong and confident. Obviously, we're home, so that was a big talking point. But what did you think overall of the first half? Like in a starting, like I thought it was pretty good.
I thought we looked great. I think even the first, I don't remember exactly, but around 15, 20 minutes, I thought we had a lot more fluidity to our game. I saw Madueke and Saka both tucking in a little bit more and playing more narrow as our left and right wingers, which is not something that we've seen under Arteta since they're usually high and wide. So seeing them kind of tucked in a little bit more, closer to the goal, I think, causes more threats. and we kind of had our fullbacks wider supporting rather than tucking in. So I actually really liked seeing that switch up, just to so we can get our killers like Saka closer to the goal, and then Ødegaard was popping up on the left half space, playing the left center mid role, the right center mid role, the 10 role. So seeing him float around more and kind of just having the two pivots in Rice and Zubimendi, I thought that looked really great. And then, not that this is we're being very nitpicky. This was an amazing game, but after that 20-minute mark, I noticed, and after kind of Ødegaard first got hurt,
Yeah.
Ødegaard started moving back to the right hand half space, just sticking to his right center mid role, and it was like, oh, dude, I liked when you were
Hmm.
floating a bit more, like popping up on the left, popping up in the 10, because we haven't seen those kind of passing combinations, especially with Madueke on the left too. I just kind of liked seeing him near Madueke, give Saka some space, but then he kind of reverted back to his normal, just sticking to the right center mid position. But overall, still that those first 20 I thought were really really positive.
And it's funny that you say that because I'm looking at my notes here and you're saying around the 25-30 minute mark. That's when I said the game's gone a little stale. And I think you banged it right there with Odie, just sort of coming back and doing what he was doing, towards the end of the last season. But yeah, there was no real threat after that. After sort of Odegaard got injured, it did get stale. But just a quick one on Odegaard there. The last two games, he seemed a bit different. Like even against Manchester United, and as bad of a game as that was, we still got the dub. But he was playing way better, and I think you just you hit it bang on there that he's pushing more up, and I guess that has something to do with Zubimendi coming in and being just in front of the back line there. So I think it's a really interesting point that you're saying, and I think it sort of shows in his gameplay so far. Do you think he has something to prove, to maybe the possible haters or those people that are doubting him? There was some doubt last season. Towards the end of last season, he sort of got stale.
Yeah, I think he does have something to prove. I mean, that whole talk about should he not be captain, it should be Declan Rice. I mean, I'm sure Declan Rice is an amazing leader,
Mm,
and could be future England captain, but I think Odegaard is an amazing leader and captain as well in his own way. But more, yeah, obviously in terms of performances rather than leadership, I think we have needed more from Odegaard. Obviously, last season wasn't his best, and with the injuries as well. Um, but yeah, this season you're right. I think these first two games he has looked a little bit better. Has looked a
yep.
little bit more like stress, weight off his shoulders. And I do like the idea, like we're talking about, with rather than kind of having a midfield three where Rice, like last season, as he was amazing last season as that box to box role, but he was sometimes one of the furthest midfielders forward over Odegaard. Um, and I'd rather see Rice kind of closer to Zubimendi and them covering in case of a counterattack from the other team, and then have Odegaard be the one who's floating around. So I like we said earlier, we saw it a little bit in this game before he came off, um, and we did see it a little bit more with the United game as well. So I do think he has something to prove though, because now with Eze, Nwaneri, Dowman, we as number tens, we still have Marino, Havertz, kind of could be box to box, could be the target man forward. There's a lot of players that potentially could play in Odegaard's position, so I'm sure he's feeling that pressure and motivation.
Yeah, and the fact that that he has that momentum right now, it just sucks. That he had to be subbed off just before the end of the first half, and with that shoulder injury, which I mean, it looked really nasty the way he fell. I'm hoping that it's not as bad as we saw. Also too, like Saka being injured and Kai Havertz already injured. It's bringing back last season feels. So hopefully it's not as bad as it looked, but damn, it just it was really nasty. The way he fell.
Yeah, you can tell it was a, kind of shoulder collarbone area. He didn't look comfortable the rest of the game, and not in a bad way. I'm sure I'd be the same. I'd probably be
Yep.
even more baby about it too. But if he gets hurt or if he gets a big hit in the game, he tends to not come back into the game. Not just like getting subbed off, but I feel like with Ødegaard, if he gets hurt pretty badly, it's hard for him to get back into the game and find that form. Whereas we see other players kind of find their feet again and keep moving on, keep pushing on. But yeah, I think the Ødegaard miss is a tough one, but like I said, because we have Nwaneri, who we can get to, and who I thought played actually really well
Hmm.
in this game, with Eze coming in, I think it's not a huge deal if he misses against Liverpool. Um, but the Saka one is just the killer blow, you
And you know
know.
what? It's good. You touch on something here as a side note that which Arsenal haven't had in many years. I mean, I don't remember the last time we had this much depth in the squad. Mind you, that we probably will see some outgoings, but that goes to show, and also too the change in the way Arteta is thinking, because usually last season I think Odegaard still stays on the pitch and he doesn't get subbed off until either the second half or further into the second half. And that goes to show the amount of depth that Arsenal has right now, where, you know what? No, you're injured, come off right away. Same thing with Saka. I think Saka probably would have stayed on if, he thought that I'm needed. But the fact is,
Yeah,
he took them out right away, not even thinking about it. I mean, Odegaard did play for, I think, a couple more minutes, but
yeah.
he brought in the reinforcements, which I think is very smart.
No, I agree. I think that's something that we've needed. I think Arteta hasn't always gotten subs right, and obviously, I think last season it wasn't his fault just because of the depth issues. But I think now that we have so much depth and so much quality players who can fill in for each other, I'm glad that he's starting to, like you said, sub people off when they need to be subbed off. There's no need to stay on
Yep.
for an extra 10, 20 minutes. If you feel like something's hurting, come off. Especially with the Saka one, you see in the replay the way he cuts inside and he's then pushing off and stretching for that ball.
Mm.
Um, and you can just see immediately after he does get a touch on the ball, but he
Hmm.
holds his hamstring, and it's just
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, I've pulled my hamstring, 3 times now in my life, and you just know that's the exact motion that you do when you pull a hamstring, and best case scenario, it's 2 weeks, and that would be very best case scenario if it was like the most minor pull. Worst case scenario, it's another 3 month or so.
Yeah.
I mean, either way, he's out for Liverpool. I don't think there's any way he's back for that.
Yeah, but that's okay. That's okay because we have the reinforcements for that. So, I mean, that's what it's all about at the end of the day, right? So
Yeah,
that's really good.
yeah. I think it'll be interesting to see what we do. I'm sure we'll get to that at some point, but what we do to replace him, if it's moving Madueke, a more natural right winger to the right, and
Hmm.
then bringing back a Martinelli or Trossard on the left wing, or if we use some of our more younger players. But it'll be interesting.
It definitely will be interesting to see how we line up against Liverpool, but I'm a little bit more assured that we have the necessary quality to go at Liverpool. And of course, we'll talk about it a little bit more about that. But I want to bring it back to the first half here. And a talking point that I wrote down in the 10th minute, Ricardo Calafiori goes down in the box. Is that a penalty shout or is that a dive? I mean, he did get clipped.
I think he did get clipped, but it's not enough for me. And
No?
I think Calafiori's looking for it there, which is
Yeah,
fine. I mean, in a sense, I think Dowman later, that was a bigger clip, but I think
100%.
he's also looking for it there too. It's just kind of that's how the game's going right now. But no, I wasn't screaming at the TV over the Calafiori one. Could be because I knew it was against Leeds and I was confident we'd win, but no, I wasn't feeling too
Okay, so
concerned or unjustly done.
Okay, so so then I took it a little too overboard. Then when I screamed, I'm like, "That's a penalty, ref!" Like I went nuts. But I know
Oh,
I
of course.
saw. Go ahead, go
I'm
ahead.
sure I did say it was a. I'm sure I did say it was a pen too in the moment, but then you kind of watch the replay again. You're like, actually,
Yeah,
I
I
said
know.
it in the moment, but maybe
he
not.
he you could tell, yeah, he dove a little bit in the replays there, but it sucks because I'm watching it and I hear the commentator, and I swear to God, I think the commentator had like a hate on for Arsenal, but he's like, that's not a penalty for me. I'm like, dude, he stepped on his foot. But yeah, you could see that he's looking for it, so he dove. I was just very curious to see your input on that one. Um,
I could watch it again. To be honest, I mean, I think they only showed the one or two
yeah.
replays live, so I haven't actually seen highlights of it again to really see. But my initial thought watching the replay was it's not enough. So
Yeah, there you go. What about Glockeres? I'm gonna call him Glockeres from now on. He's yeah, bang. There's a soundboard Glock in there that's gonna go into the pod. But
there you go.
so well, I'll get your like first of all your opinion because we haven't talked about him signing for Arsenal. So just quick, good signing for Arsenal.
Yeah, I think so. I'm obviously feeling better about it today, just because he got the two goals. Um, I think it's going to be interesting to see how he does because he's not our typical profile of striker. We've had a lot of, link players in the
Mm,
past. In under Arteta, Jesus, even Trossard when he played false nine there, or Havertz. They're all kind of linking players, not prolific goal scorers. Gyökeres is more of a channel runner. He's a big physical guy. You know, fast enough, not incredibly speedy though.
mm, no,
Decent dribbler, but not amazing. But a good finisher. So I think it's a different play style that we're going to have to be playing to for him. And I thought we did better in this game. And United, too, we had a lot more transition moments, which I think suits him. Um, but I still think that it's going to be tough to compare him to an Isak if Isak does end up going to Liverpool or, Sesko that went to United. They paid 1.5 times what we paid. So you look at
mm.
price, age, amount of goals he scored in the last 2 years, and I think it's a good deal. But obviously, if you had told me this at the start of summer, he wasn't my first pick.
Really? Was it Shesko?
I mean, I was leaning more Sesko. I didn't. If you told me what the price was going to be beforehand, like 90 million versus
Mm,
60-ish million, 65 for Gyökeres and 90 million ish for Sesko, then I maybe would have leaned towards Gyökeres just in terms of allocation of funds. But if you had to, if I could pick one or the other in that moment, I maybe would have gone Sesko just because
oh, interesting.
he's a few inches taller, faster, um, probably better aerially. He has those long range shots. I think Gyökeres has really good close range finishing, and he
Mm,
has a lot of power in his shot too. But I think Sesko from those longer distances has some great shooting. I think it's also probably just a little bit of the football manager vibe in me too, where it's like, ooh, 22-year-old versus 27-year-old. Um, but no, now that I've seen Gyökeres a little bit more, um, I do think it was better to go for the win now signing, the 27-year-old
yeah.
proven striker versus the 22-year-old.
And I think that right there is the what's weighing a proven striker versus an unproven striker, whether or not a 22-year-old, which is an Arsenal type of signing, as we've seen in previous seasons, Arsene Wenger type of signing, which I'm pretty sure Arsene Wenger would have signed him, but not for that money. But he probably would have signed
Yeah,
some
yeah,
unknown from like Central America or something, Carlos Vela type.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I think, yeah, the verdict is still out on that. Definitely need to see more of Benjamin Sesko as obviously the season progresses. Which one of the, and I think those two are going to be the signings that are going to, people are going to say, oh, who was a better signing? Even though the two players have nothing to do with it. It's just obviously the fans and the media. But I think, he's pretty good. I like the way he's running. I've been very critical of Arsenal and how they have to find him playing. Playing more centrally with him and focusing on the runs that he's doing. So, yeah, I think the verdict is still out, but he did look much better today. I mean, the first real big chance that he had was, that one from that mistake from Leeds back play there. I think I've already was seeing on social media how everybody's just on him about, oh, he can't even hit a shot. Look at how much time he has. And I think what those idiots don't understand is he doesn't know that. We can see that obviously he had time to take maybe a touch or two before trying to smash it in. But I look at it from that mentality to just not even know what's around and just, the goal is in front of me. I'm going to try to go for it. I give him credit because he doesn't know. He doesn't know. I mean, obviously watching it back, he'll say, "Oh shoot, I did have more time." But it's there. Like, he's taking those chances, and it's better than not taking the chance,
No, I totally agree. It obviously was, frustrating in the moment because he did have time, but like you said, of course, he doesn't realize he has that much time. He doesn't know that there's no defender close to him, or he doesn't know the distance between him and the goalkeeper. So yeah, I like your outlook on it of just kind of being, he's kind of that has that striker's mentality of, I just know where the goal is. I just need to turn and get a touch on it as much as I can towards goal. And obviously it didn't work out for him that time, but no, I think it's a good sign. He kind of almost and I don't want him to take this or anybody to take this as like a slight on him, but he gives me almost a Lukaku vibe where he's kind of like this bully, super strong, like pretty quick, can have some monster finishes, great power on him, but also just can have these like whiffs basically. And we saw one, I think, in the preseason game in the Emirates Cup too. And then one like the other one that we were just talking about in this game against Leeds, where, you can see he's a quality finisher, and he does have some good touches as well, but sometimes he has a little bit of the donkey touch or a little bit of the whiffs,
Yeah, you know what? That's a perfect comparison. Lukaku. Hopefully not like Lukaku. I mean, Lukaku, I think, is still like, he still has his moments, he's still quality, but back in the day. But yeah, I do agree.
Yeah.
I do agree. The little glimpses. Oh boy. Oh,
Yeah,
I hope
yeah.
not. But I think another talking point was the Raya quality save. I don't care what anybody says. I think he's the best goalkeeper in the league right now. Even though I'm sometimes hypercritical of him in some of the stupid decisions that he makes, but that right there, dude, like almost point blank save quality.
Oh, insane. I mean, the power on that header from Stroik
Right?
was insane. So for
Yeah.
him to be able to get his paw on it and still claw it over the goal to not, allow a rebound, definitely phenomenal. And yeah, I agree with your assessment. I think he probably is right now the best goalkeeper in the Prem, just because Alisson's, getting a little older, slightly declining. Liverpool have a new goalkeeper there too now. Ederson was never really, I think, the best goalkeeper in terms of shot stopping. He was just great with his feet, but
Yep.
he's been declining for a while. So I agree. I think it's Raya, and you would know as a goalkeeper yourself, as a goalkeeper pro.
Yeah, I'm the best goalkeeper in the men's over 40 league
Indian.
48 as opposed to league EPL standards, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, his quality save there. I think, that for me, that was one of the best goalkeeping saves I've seen so far this season. Finally, the breakthrough out of anybody else that scores. We have Gabriel that's been scoring like crazy. Saliba, and then Gyökeres can score. But Yuri and Timber coming in hot for that first goal. And I don't even give a shit if people call us corner FC, set piece FC. I don't care. You know what? Whatever gets the goal and eventually gets you the dub, why not?
It really doesn't. It really, yeah. Why not? It really doesn't matter. If it's a tool that everybody can exploit if they, have the right coach, the right setup that they do from their set piece coach. So we've just become amazing at it, which is great to see because we've never been good at it except for the last few years with Jover now as the set piece coach. And I'm happy for Timber too because he's a good header of the ball. and he's super aggressive. He's just not incredibly tall, so he doesn't get a
Yeah.
lot of those opportunities. But
Hmm.
good leap on him. So whatever he is, 5'10", 5'11". I'm glad that you know he got one and then another.
Yeah, he got his
So
brace. Up until that point, though, I was really thinking about that. I had some concerns. Even and I get it, hypercritical. Second game of the season, there's still lots of gameplay to play, but so far up until that point, our goals were just from set pieces. So no goals from open play, and obviously there was open play goals, but I still want to ask you this question, but keep in mind that yes, we did have some open play goals. So the lack of open play goals are, kind of concerning. Or do we just give the team time because it's so early in the season? Do you have a concern about thus far lack of open play goals?
yeah, I mean it's tough, obviously after a 5-0 win. But I mean, I think that was the main concern coming into this season, just in general, kind of, a couple weeks ago thinking about it, was can we improve the attack? We already know the defense is the best in the league, but is there something that we can do
Mm,
to break down these low blocks that are really difficult to find space in, find shots, find opportunities? We just do that horseshoe of death around the
yep.
18-yard box. So no, that was probably my biggest concern going into the season, and it's still something that we haven't had enough time to see if they can prove it, that they've improved in that facet. But yeah, definitely something to keep watching this season is our open play creation, and like you said, for Gyökeres, can we find him
Hmm.
rather than him being back to goal doing just layoffs more like a Havertz? Can we find him peeling off and doing those quick little runs into the channels?
Yeah, most definitely. But I mean, on the flip side of that, you know, here we go. Bukayo Saka opening up his account and scoring a beautiful, beautiful just shot, like very Saka-esque, in there. And not so much the goal. I am happy for that goal. But Timber with the killer pass as well. I'm like outstanding. But for me, what started that play is Zubimendi's work rate and the interception to start that play. It started from him intercepting that ball right into Timber. Timber pass, Saka brilliant. Like
Yeah,
what a little magician, and dare I say Santi Cazorla-esque?
yeah, it's kind of interesting. I mean, you look at Zubimendi and he's got so many different qualities
Mm,
that remind you of all these other players. Like he's not obviously quite as two-footed as Santi. Santi was
yeah,
insane, but he's
yeah.
got the two-footedness and, good ball retention in close, tight spaces of a Santi. His interceptions, his ability to read the game is, on par with players like a Jorginho or a Xhaka even, where they weren't
Mm,
physically quick, but they could read the game and jump in and step in. But then also he's tackling like he's Declan Rice sometimes too,
right.
and winning the ball, and like you said, able to spring back up quickly and lay off a pass. And most of his passes are forward too. So yeah, Zubimendi, I think he was my man of the match in the United game, and
Yep.
then I thought in this game again, he's just going to be one of those players where I think he gives you 8 out of 10 every game, and we're just happy with all of his contribution defensively, intercepting wise, and passing forward. So it was great to see him, like you said, start that attack for the Saka goal after winning the ball back through that interception. And like you said, I think Timber, great ball. It was nice to see Timber make a nice pass like that, because I think
Yeah.
we've seen Ben White, who's probably maybe a little bit better at the craft and the passing, a little bit better going forward. Timber's probably a little bit better defensively with his aggression. But seeing Timber play that nice ball, Saka being a little more inside, and then like you said, we just have seen that trademark Saka finish. He's definitely practiced that
Mm.
right foot, weak foot finish, just roofing it in the top corner. So,
Yeah, 100%.
amazing goal.
Yeah, it was just so brilliant the way he plays, and he's back. I think he worked very hard last season. And I kept on saying it last season, is that teams have found out the way Arsenal have played. Like at the beginning of the season, right? And the previous season prior to that, when Arsenal were being called corner FC, set piece FC, that was a big criticism of Arteta that I had, is that and Saka is getting double, triple teamed at times, and that's why he kind of became non-existent. But it wasn't his fault. It was, I think, the way tactically teams were trying to press on him now, and to see him, just go at them again like this, I think that's going to boost his confidence. And I'm hoping that he just continues on, and just him knowing that he has the skill to go through and just create a goal chance like that is, to me, is incredible. So I'm hoping that this is just the beginning and he has an even better season than last.
Yeah, totally agree. I think we are making a purposeful and intentional shift to playing Saka more inside,
Mm.
a little more Salah-esque, just so that he can get into those dangerous positions more often. Because even though he's amazing out wide on the right, that's where it's much easier to double or triple team him, and then he just plays it back to the right back, or has to try and beat two or three guys. So I think playing it a little bit inside and having our fullback be the one who can potentially go on the outside will draw the defender away to the fullback and give Saka more space and time inside where he can be even more deadly.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I mean that was pretty much the first half. I think the second half was even way better than the first. Obviously we're talking about how it got stale towards the end there. With Ødegaard getting injured, but finally Glockeres, I think, goal of the game. Boom, boom, boom. Like let's do that again there. Bang. Him coming in, and just the way he beat the defenders, very Thierry Henry, very Teo,
Mm.
Teo Walcott. I call him Teo.
Mm-hmm. I like
But
it. I like it.
but that's what you get. He convinced me right then and there. Like, what a goal! And it wasn't even like a power shot. It was just a literal, nice little finesse shot.
Yeah, no, it was amazing. Because I was interested to see once that ball went out to him. Again, I like how we did that first time pass over the defense, nice little curled ball. Because we don't do those kind of quick transitions or those quick
Hmm.
first time balls over the defense as much as I'd like. Which is definitely something that Glockeres loves to do. So it
100.
was it was great to see him get on the end of that and cut inside. Um, I thought his. I will say, I again don't know if I'm being nitpicky. It could be that Leeds defenders aren't that great, which is
Right? Yeah.
probably
No.
true.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Uh, he had a little bit of heavier touches. Again, kind of like I said, a little bit more Lukaku-esque
Yeah.
than a tight cut inside like a Saka would do, for example, where it's a little closer to his body. Um, but once he gets right around that 6 yard box, you know instantly that he's going to put the ball in the right place, because you think he's going to go far post, either power shot or curl it far post. He opens his body up to do that, but then
Yeah.
to then trick all the players, goalkeeper, everybody, and go with the near post, like you said, didn't even need that much power, but just to make everybody think he's going to go far post, cuts it near post. Definitely, I think he has that quick thinking, quick intelligence inside that 6 yard box more than anybody in our squad.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, now that you're just comparing to those Lukaku s type of things, I remember there's a couple of times where, yeah, there was some misplaced touches, and I think there was at least two other players that had some really heavy touches as well, but I can't remember who. Oh, I think it was MLS and Calafiori maybe, who had those
Oh
same
yeah,
sort of touches, not concerning, but I do see now, me remembering how he did. Yeah, he did have some touches. Hopefully that doesn't progress even more. And hey, it could be a matter of, I don't care how many of those you do, as long as you score a goal and a goal per game or something like that.
exactly. That's how I feel. I think he still put it in the net beautifully once he got to that position. I think he did a good job overall getting there too.
Yeah.
I am just interested to see if we play a better team when he has those touches that were like 2 yards away from him when he cut inside,
Right.
is that 1 yard too many, essentially? But we're nitpicking. We'll see once we play Liverpool next weekend, for example, if he's able to do well against the big guys like Van Dijk and Konate.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, Van Kunt, the old bastard. I'm hoping that
Oh man.
I'm hoping that they get destroyed. But anyway, I mean, we'll talk about it. It's interesting that we're talking about like Zubimendi as man of the match for both of us, and on FootMob he got a 7.5 rating, and Jurrien Timber getting the man of the match 9.3. So I'm just curious to see Glockeres getting a 9, which is great to see. Our back line was just in the green, so that's interesting to see. But really, like, I think what I wanted to just finalize the discussion here with the game is the introduction of Max Dowman at 15 years old coming in. Like, that is crazy. And for him to win a penalty and go at the defender, I just can't believe this kid is 15. Just absolutely a
No,
wonder kid.
he's definitely a wonder kid. It's absolutely insane. I mean, and the fact that we've had two in the last couple years. I mean, we've had more than that, but two in that kind of, are they 10 and are they a right winger with what
Oh,
last few
so,
years is crazy. Dowman, he already looks like he's 6 feet tall.
yeah.
And his ability to cut inside or chop outside, like we saw for the penalty, is just amazing.
Yeah, like it looks like he can't even fit into his shorts. Like, do these guys are the team's probably like, oh no, we don't have like size medium kids shorts. Like, we gotta put you in a men's small or something. I don't know. To me, I just find that funny. But yeah, you're right. I think he's natural ability, that kid, and I can't believe that he plays as a number 10. He looks so natural on the wing.
I know it, and you never know if he ends up solidifying right winger or left winger as his position in the future. I think that tends to happen with younger players. We saw it with Nwaneri last season, that
Yeah.
if you are a more central player, you tend to play wide first because there's less risk if you lose the ball rather than centrally if you lose the ball. Those kind of turnovers lead to goals more. Um, but with Nwaneri and Dowman, one of them's probably gonna have to play on the wing. I don't know if I see, even in 5 years' time, both of them playing centrally, because then we would maybe look a little light in midfield. But
Yeah, I
yeah.
mean, a good problem to have, for the future. I mean, for like, in the near future and for years to come. But I wanted to talk to you about like also Mascara coming in, making his home debut as well in a competitive match. But he started off as a right back, and I'm like, whoa! I sort of had to see there for a second. I'm like, okay, Saliba's still in there, Gabriel's still in there, and we just switched the flanks, right? We switched to fullbacks, and with MLS and Mascara. I'm liking this kid. He's solid and he's fast.
Yeah, he's super fast. I think that's one of the biggest assets that we have, or that he has, is that he's incredibly fast. So anytime we get transitioned on, I think he's going to be the first guy to get back and slow everybody down. So I think I think he looks promising. And again, I think same thing, because he's young. It's a little bit less risky to bring him on as a right back for Timber than to bring him on for a Saliba or a Gabriel centrally. Which eventually, that's, I think, his more natural position, and he'll play there at center back. But
Hmm.
for right now, especially with White out too, I think it was good to bring him on right back and get that first home game feel.
Yeah, I think he was pretty good. And yeah, looking forward to him just keep debutizing whoever that might be, whether it's on the flank or whether it's in the center back role. I mean, he obviously has good mentors in any of those positions. So yeah, he looked sharp and he looked good to me. So yeah, that's another one for the future. I think. I think the second half was much more sharper, clinical passing, more dominant. I think Arsenal obviously grew into the game as the second half progressed, and the open play goals were a huge sigh of relief, and it'll reassure all of us that yeah, Arsenal still got it to get those um, get those goals from open play, because I think that's been Arsenal's weakness, is just trying to walk in the ball and not have those chances. And I hope that now that Gyökeres is here, and Eze, Madueke, all of these players now can take shots from outside the box, that Arsenal start to think a little bit more in terms of taking shots from outside the box. But I wanted to get your take on, the signings that they've done thus far. I know that the window is still open for another week and a bit. But number one, haven't seen this many signings in a long time. Number two, we all know that Arsenal take forever to sign players in previous seasons. Sometimes, we get to the beginning of the season and we start playing games, and then they start signing. So a lot more decisiveness, timely manner. Spent more than Liverpool, this season. But what do you rate the signings? Like, good transfer business?
Yeah, in general, I mean, you would say it's trying to think, probably give it a 9.5 out of 10. I mean, we essentially covered everything we needed. I know the one thing that maybe doesn't make it quite a 10 out of 10 is that we didn't get a true left winger.
Mm.
Again, we think Madueke is going to be playing a lot there, as we saw today. Eze can drift out there and play a good amount there as well, but not like a true natural left winger. Probably is the only thing that doesn't make it a 10. But yeah, you can't be upset with making 7 signings. They all either raise our floor in terms of adding squad depth that's better than what we've had in the past.
Mm-hmm.
So pushing out the likes of the Vieiras, the Lokongas, the Zinchenkos, but then also adding some quality to the first team too, like Zubimendi replacing Zubimendi replacing Partey, or now potentially Madueke replacing Martinelli or Trossard, or Eze coming in, Gyökeres coming in as a striker. So I think you can't be upset with the amount of business that Arsenal, Arteta, and our new friend Andrea Berta have done.
Yeah, the Godfather. Hey, you never know, right? I mean, Rodrigo could still come in for that left role. I don't know. I'm just
It
I'm
would
just
be,
kidding. I doubt it, but
yeah, I doubt it. It'd be interesting. I just on him real quick too. I'm mixed emotions on him. I mean, I'll be honest. I haven't seen billions of games of him. Just seen more clips of him for Real Madrid.
hmm.
Uh, a lot of people have been saying, "Oh, is he going to be kind of like an Alexis Sanchez, where Alexis Sanchez was incredible at Barca, but they just had so many incredible players that he was a star, the star when he came to Arsenal." I just don't know if I have the same feeling with Rodrigo. I really like his speed, dribbling, his shooting's probably one of my favorite things about him, but he just looks kind of light still.
Mm.
And I know Alexis Sanchez was a small guy too, but that guy was feisty.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh, yeah. He fought. He fought. He was a fighter.
he fought.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah. I haven't seen too much of Rodrigo. I don't really watch La Liga that much. But from what my dad tells me, because he watches a lot of La Liga, he's feisty, like Alexis Sanchez. And I told him, I'm like, I haven't seen much of him. He looks like a guy that would just be trouble, like that he wouldn't listen, or he won't. I don't know. I just get that vibe from him that he's like a badass, and he's just like, no, I'm Rodrigo, like, that type of play. But I don't know him, so I mean, that's just the vibe I get. But
No, I totally agree with it because I mean I know that they have 3 amazing forwards, Real Madrid in Vinicius, Rodrigo, Mbappe, and of course Mbappe is insane. And I think even Vinicius is overhyped. Uh,
100%, I think so.
he's good, but not not near the levels of previous left wingers that they've had in the past. I preferred Di Maria to them, and they're talking about Vinicius getting Ballon d'Ors for Real Madrid. Like, I'd rather
Crazy.
take Bale or Di Maria Cruz, yeah.
Any day.
Um, and so
Yeah.
if Rodrigo can't even play above either Mbappe or Vinicius on the left, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know if he's the guy.
I think we've done the business. I think we should be okay. That's obviously yet to be determined, and obviously we don't know the inner workings of the club. But I'd like to think that they've at least, if not 65, maybe to 75%. I think they've done really good with that left hand side. Definitely, I think the players that we have now. I think Martinelli needs competition because I think we've relied heavily on Martinelli for so long, and now we're starting. Once again, I'm not trying to be hypercritical of him. I still rate him, but I think we're starting to see some flaws crack in there. And is he the guy amongst all the other players, not just him, but can he, along with the quality signings that we have and that they've gotten, can he assist in taking us to that next level? Can he move us up to that next, the Premier League championship, the league itself? I don't know. I don't.
Yeah,
I think he has that competition, so I think he needs it.
I think he does need that too. So in that sense, you're right. I think the Eze Madueke signings, people who can play on the left, I think will help push him. It's kind of sad to see because I
Mm.
love Martinelli, and I've
Yep.
after that season 2 years ago where him and Saka and Ødegaard were all getting 15 goals each.
Yeah. It's
Um,
huge.
I thought I thought he was just gonna explode and become one of our best players, but you can just kind of see that he's a lot of pace. I love the work rate that he gives
Oh yeah.
defensively. Um, but yeah, not really a dribbler for how fast he is. And I
Very
swear he used to
indecisive
be a
too.
better finisher, but indecisive, yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think this is potentially not last season, but I think it could be
He's getting
like
close.
if he doesn't really step up this season, I think there's going to be an opportunity to sell him because he'll be 24, 25 next year. Um,
I
yeah.
agree. And look, I know it's the second game of the season. We're being a little hypercritical of him. He's done the business. He's helped Arsenal get to, second place trophy as many seasons. But yeah, I agree. I think, it's either put up or shut up type of thing. Not being, not trying to, hate on the guy here, but yeah, I agree. To me, though, I think and we spoke about this at the top of the hour when we were talking. Martin Zubimendi is probably going to be the signing of the transfer window, period. Because I think his work rate, his interceptions, positioning, his passing have just been so on par. And I know that we've only seen him 2 games, but in competitive matches, but it's just he's all over the place. Like, and then like one minute I see him up front, in the attack, and then he's back helping the defense, which gives, I think that's why it gives Martin Odegaard that free flow, and we see Declan moving up a little bit more because now they have this little guy there that's just absolutely killing. I think, to me, I'm sold, and I'm so glad that Liverpool did not sign him because he would have done the business for Liverpool for sure.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, it's obviously nice to see all these players who are linked to other teams choosing the Arsenal still.
Mm,
But no, I can't agree with you more. I think I was excited when Zubimendi was coming in, but to be honest, um, you know, just speaking in terms of player quality with Partey, but
yep.
I thought he was just a phenomenal defensive midfielder. I think he's one of the best we've ever had in
Yeah.
that deep lying playmaker position. His ability to, fake and shift the ball and keep the ball still in those tight spaces. I thought Partey was unreal. Um, but I think Zubimendi just moves quicker. I think he gets the ball forward faster. I think Partey is kind of languid, and that helped him with those kind of nice little fake moves or dropping the shoulder going the other way. But Zubimendi kind of gets it, gives it quickly, and it's typically forward,
Mm,
with his passing. And I think we talked about it a little bit earlier, but the thing I didn't quite know was that he's actually very good with his left foot, and he's actually very
Yeah.
good defensively, like we were talking about. I knew he was a good passer, but I didn't quite know the two-footedness and the defensive capabilities as well.
Yeah, I think yeah, I saw a little bit of Santi Cazorla there, and then you talked about Partey. Even though I think they needed to move on from him, despite all of the negative media on him and whatnot. I mean, I don't want to get into that, but like
Yeah,
it's just
yeah,
very just we're talking about the player in general, not his off field
yes,
whatever life that he had or he did. I mean, obviously, if whatever. It's gross if he did that and terrible, but we're talking about his
yeah.
play. And I think, yeah, Partey was really good, but I think he was aging as well, and he was getting aged out. And yeah, I was kind of pissed off at Zubimendi from what we were hearing in the media about, oh, he's changing his mind. He wants to go to Real Madrid, but there was never any doubt. And I think that's, as Arsenal fans, we can be a little toxic. I'll admit that, where
Yeah,
they
definitely.
they were going crazy and hating on him. But to me, I just think, yeah, he's it. If we win the title, he's gonna be a huge part of why we won, because I think he's been doing the business very well. And I know it's just 2 games. I know, get off him, but like I think so. I think he's gonna be the perfect signing.
No, I totally agree with you. I think, you know, we all love Declan Rice, for example, and he was a
Mm,
over £100 million signing, and I think Zubimendi is equal in that quality. So I think we got him for 60 million. I think he could have
bargain.
been easily £100 million player. Yeah, he
Yeah,
was a bargain.
bargain. And I'm just happy that he's not going that he went to Liverpool, because yeah, I mean Liverpool is also dangerous. Just speaking about Liverpool, I think to wrap things up, we can talk a little bit about the upcoming match against Liverpool at Anfield. Going once again, it's just the second game of the season. But after last week's performance against United, which was probably the most unconvincing win Arsenal have done in recent seasons, still got the W though, so that's great. But we had to get a result against Leeds today, and I know Leeds technically, quote unquote, a lesser team, even though I still think no team in the Premier League is easy. I think they're all
Yeah,
hard. um, Liverpool is going to be the first big test. And so the surprise first big test was actually Man United. They actually did play well. They made some really good signings. Still a garbage team, and they're 15th, and they'll forever be 15th. But
yeah.
Liverpool, though, Liverpool is the threat. After watching today's game, are you? Well, let me ask you first. Were you worried about Liverpool so early in the season?
I was worried about them just because, especially if we didn't win these 2 games, but now I'm feeling a little bit better
Right. Okay.
that if Liverpool win against Newcastle on Monday, and they did beat us, for example, so 3 games in, they'd be on 9 points, we'd be on 6 points.
Yep.
It would feel like we're still in it. But
Right.
if we had tied either
Mm,
of these games, United or Leeds, and they won all 3 of their games, could have been like 9 points versus 4 points or something, which then would have been
that's a good point of
uh
view.
intense. Yeah. So I mean, obviously I still want the win. A draw wouldn't be bad either. We ideally don't want to lose, but even if we lose, being maximum just 3 points behind them at this early stage, we kind of get it over with early, so less pressure than, end of the season if it really, really meant something. So yeah, I don't think I mind. And I was feeling confident going into the game pre Saka going down. So um I think it'll be interesting to see how we line up if we want
That's the
to
most
go
interesting part.
into
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
let's get right into it. How do you think we're going to line up against Liverpool?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously I think defense, I think we'll have the same defense we did today.
100%.
Where Timber is in for White, obviously Saliba, Gabriel, and I think Calafiori will stay there because I think he's had a really good two
Huge.
games.
Huge.
Huge. I think obviously Zubimendi, Rice. Then it's interesting. I mean, it depends if Odegaard's available or not.
Right.
What do you think? Do we think he's going to be back for it, or?
Dude, I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, worst case scenario, I think we have the quality there to back him up. Um,
Yeah.
but at the same time, I'm worried that if he is out, is that going to regress him in terms of the beautiful performances he's had, 90 plus minutes so far, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that he's okay. At least, you know what? If they come out and they say, you know what, it's not as bad as it sounds, he will be back, but he won't be playing against Liverpool. I think then it'd be a one-off, and then psychologically the team's like, okay, he's not, he's not going to be out for so long. We can do the business. We have quality there in that position. I mean, definitely, I don't think Dowman would start for sure.
No.
Probably Eze. I mean, I'd like to see Eze. I mean, he's fit. He's played. I mean, obviously he didn't play
Yeah.
with Crystal Palace in midweek, but I'm okay. I'm okay. But I just don't want him
Yeah.
to regress.
No, I agree. I think if we assume he's not gonna play, I think it is really interesting who we bring in though, because I think there's
Mm,
about three options of who we could start with. I think we either go for the new signing in Eze, who's probably the most like for like, probably best fit for that position, even though it is on the right half space and he tends to play on the left. I
mm,
still think, he's the most number 10, most Odegaard, and highest quality and experience. Nwaneri, though, likes that right half space. He's another left-footed player. He's been with us.
yeah,
Well, he's been with us for years, but he's played with us in the first team for nearly a year now. Um, so he maybe is the easier transition just because
100%.
he's not coming in just from a few days of training like Eze would have,
Yeah,
but
I
probably also
agree.
not the same quality and experience as Eze. And then the other option, which I don't think you're going to like, is it's away, it's Anfield. Do we bring in a Mikel Merino
Mm,
to
mm,
play in there? And I
mm,
know it's three kind of good defensively minded midfielders like Zubimendi, Rice, Merino, but he's probably the safest bet in
yeah,
terms of we're going away in this big scary
good shout.
game. And worst comes to worst, if we're losing at any point, we sub him off for a Nwaneri or
Yeah.
an Eze. But if we're still tied or if we're winning it all, then Marino potentially could be a good option there too.
You know what? That's a good shout. And I mean, it's not that I'm hypercritical about Marino. Um, Certainly he came in and he was doing really good at Real So Bad, but was it, yeah, Real So Bad, right? Yeah, that's where he's
Yeah,
come
yeah,
from.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sociedad, yeah,
Yeah, so
yeah, yeah.
sad. But I just, you know what, he did the business last season as well. Towards the end of the end of the season there, at the latter stages of it, came in absolutely no expectations of playing a forward, and he did well. And I think you're right. I think defensively, he's strong, he's tall, he can move pretty fast from what I see. But yeah, I think as it's a little too early for him to start. You are completely right. Waneri was probably the most obvious choice to start. And if, like you said, if we're winning, hopefully, then we bring in a Marino to help solidify that win and be more defensively minded. Although with Waneri, I want to touch on him just a sec.
Yeah.
There was a point in the game today where he was running with the ball and he had Glockeres and then he had Dowman and he just didn't do anything. And that's what I'm afraid is he's going to get eaten alive by Van Kunt and Kanate, because he's just running. Like, dude, do something with the ball. I think that's my biggest criticism of Waneri. I don't know.
No, no, I see what you're saying. That moment especially was incredibly frustrating. I mean, that reminded me of the United game where we had so many transition
Yep.
opportunities and just kept holding on to it and never laid off the pass. It's tough though because I think I looked at this game like Nwaneri was really encouraging because I think last season he scored what, like nearly 10 goals or 10 goals
Yeah.
in all competitions.
Right.
whether it was starting, coming off the bench. And I think his main threat looked like, wow, this guy can cut in from the right wing onto his left foot, and he's got a shot on him. Like,
Yeah, I agree.
one of our best long shot takers in the squad. Um, but he was susceptible to losing the ball, and I don't think
Yep.
his creativity actually was that great last season. It was mostly just goal threat,
Yep.
which of course is great. But this game, one thing I'll say, minus that moment on the transition where he lost it, I think he looked more comfortable and more adult in his ability
I
to
agree.
get the ball, lay it off, and sometimes do the simple stuff easier, not always having to run and shoot from 30 yards out, which I love to see from him, and I want him to keep that fire
Yeah.
and flair in
Oh
him.
yeah.
But also, if you're going to be playing 10 games in a row, 90 minutes, I think having a little bit more of that Ødegaard ability to hold on to the ball when you need to.
Hmm.
I saw glimpses of that today.
I agree. I agree. And once again, it's the second game of the season. I'm being a little too critical on him. And one mistake does not outweigh the good that he did. So you are right. And I do agree. I think he's going to be, the starting. I think the easier choice to start for this match. And I don't know. I hope that he has a banger game and that he scores 2 goals. Obviously, right? That would be a huge statement. But I still rate him. I was scared that he might leave. In the summer. He was being
Yep.
courted by a couple of teams. I think United was one of them. And I'm glad that he stayed. He's still quality. It's just those little fears, and I think you said it right. Like I think he's grown a little bit. Like last season there was a couple times where he just drove and then just lost the ball. I mean, just passed the goddamn ball. But no, I agree.
Yeah.
Who do you have up front? I mean, is the same up front starting if Saka is not injured, obviously.
If Saka's not injured, then yeah, I would keep it the same as we saw. With Gyökeres up front, Saka on the right, Madueke on the left, just because I think
Hmm.
that's a really powerful, really quick front three
Yep.
that can work on the transition if we're penned into our own half and then we get a transition against Liverpool. But honestly, I'm like 98% certain Saka's not going to play.
Yeah, he's
I
out.
just think the way he held his hamstring, it wasn't like an impact injury where it's like, oh, this is going to be a big lump in my shin or a big bruise or a twisted ankle where I could come back. It looked like
Yeah.
he pulled something like minimum a few weeks. So I'm almost thinking I'm not even thinking about him. I have more hope or more not more hope, but I think Ødegaard will come back more likely than Saka
Yeah.
based off the injuries. Um, so I would probably then go Madueke on the right to replace Saka,
Mm.
and then this is where it's tough. Is you could fit an Eze in here
Hmm.
left wing because again it's not centrally, it's maybe a little less risky. Or do you go with, you know, an experienced Trossard who's probably better at keeping the ball against Liverpool, which we'll need, or Martinelli who's probably the best in the transition? What are
Yeah.
your thoughts?
Yeah. I mean, I do like the shout for Trossard. I think he's very good on the ball. I think he's very tricky. Um, the fact that Frimpong is not going to play is huge as well,
True.
right? So they bring in I don't even know who the hell they have.
Well, I
Robertson.
think I think it's Connor Bradley is their backup, but I think he's
Yeah.
out too.
Oh shit. Yeah. So
So
I mean, either way, I think there's vulnerabilities in Liverpool's defense because when I watched them play the first game last Friday, was it Bournemouth? No, forget who they
oh
played.
gosh,
But
I think it
yeah,
was Bournemouth.
yeah, was it Bournemouth? I think it was.
Maybe.
But they
Yeah,
were they
it's
were
the Semenyo
yeah,
incident. Yeah.
Semenyo, yeah, they were vulnerable. Like Bournemouth
Yeah.
took it to them, and and I was talking to my friend, her name's Amanda, and I said, Amanda, you guys are vulnerable in the back, and she's like, well, that's why we're looking at other defenders because I mean Van Dijk, he's aging. He's not. I mean, he's still quality. He's a
Yeah.
tank. I hate him, but like I think there's vulnerabilities to exploit, and I think you do have a point with Trossard getting the nod because he's a tricky guy, and he can play. He plays very good with the ball at his feet, and he can deke them, and he has a good cross. Where I fear Martinelli doesn't have that, and he'll either outrun the ball off the touchline,
Yeah.
or he will go to the corner and lose it, or just flat out lose the ball or not even do a cross. Whereas I think Trossard at least has that chance. If he has even the slightest chance to cross it in, I think he'll do that. And I think Trossard could potentially be the nod there, although he's slow. He's not quick. He's very tiny. He's That's not to say that he's not strong. But yeah, I think there's a shout for either or. Do you go with speed and lack of control, or do you go with less speed and control? I don't know.
Yeah. It's such a tough decision. I'm still going back and forth on it because I agree with everything you're saying on Trossard having that control, being able to keep the ball in our possession, which would be huge against Liverpool, especially away. But that transition threat of Martinelli, and then
Mm,
also Martinelli defensively. So if you
hmm
think about it, if he's going to be our left winger, he would be helping out Calafiori, who's going to have to be marking Salah. So
Yeah.
he's probably a better defender, Martinelli on that side. So
Ooh.
I'm pretty 50-50 on it. I don't know which way I'm swinging.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, because
I
Martinelli
swung
comes.
you.
Yeah, Martinelli comes back to defend. Trossard doesn't. But then again,
Yep.
Zubimendi could potentially provide that extra coverage. Whether or not you can
Yeah.
stop Mo Salah, the 40-year-old, who's still like the best player in the league. I don't know where this guy gets that energy from, but
Yeah,
yeah,
he's crazy.
Calafiori's going to have to be very, very mentally strong that game. I mean, he is strong, and I think he could take him, but he has to be mentally strong, like headstrong, because Salah's going to go at him. But I think
Yeah. Now almost a little scared of do we go Lewis Skelly?
yeah,
Because I
I
feel like
know.
Lewis Skelly's maybe a better one-on-one defender
Yeah,
against like quick pacey wingers. Oh man,
it's
we've had a
such
mare
it's
here. It's all
yes,
over.
it's such a toss up. But dude, I think either the way that Arsenal lines up, I think I don't dare I say it. I think Arsenal have the stronger lineup right now because Frimy is gone, which is huge for them. He's a huge attacking threat, like just like for like Trent, and their back line. I think there is room to exploit if Arsenal can thread the ball to Gyökeres. I think there is vulnerabilities there. We're solid in defense. I mean, if we could take the onslaught of 15th place United for almost what 80 75 plus minutes, um I mean, they're not Liverpool, but I I I think I think we have a shot if we can keep them. If we get to halftime 0-0, I'd be happy. But
Yeah.
I think Liverpool's defense is vulnerable. But their attack is doesn't matter. Their attack is still insane. And they got Ikitike, whatever his name is,
Yeah.
Salah, you know. Yeah,
It's gonna be a
Verts.
tough game. It's gonna
Yeah.
be yeah,
Oh
Verts too,
shoot. Yeah.
Ekitike, yeah.
Jesus
It's gonna be
Christ.
a tough game, but um no, I think I agree with you though. I think with their two right backs out, they probably have to put a center back out there, which, could make them in a sense more solidified, but probably also a little slower on that side. So yeah, I think it'll be a tough game, but like you, I am feeling confident that even if we don't get a win, I think we could get a draw. So a win or draw probably be my predictions for that game.
Yeah, same
Got to be
thing.
positive.
I don't even want to give a number, but I just don't lose, I guess,
Yeah,
right?
please don't
But
lose.
yeah, I think. But I was talking to Amanda, and I'm telling her, I was literally saying to her that game. There's one or two games where that decides the league, or for Arsenal. Like I'm thinking, was it um the first season we got second place? It was the Aston Villa game that lost us the title, or it might have been the second season.
Second, that was second
That was
season. Yeah, yeah.
second season, and then last year was Bournemouth, I believe,
Yeah,
or the
Bournemouth, all the red
yeah,
card games, Bournemouth,
yeah,
Brighton,
yeah. There you go.
this, yeah.
I literally told her I think that game is going to decide the season because if let's say it's tight throughout the whole entire season and either Liverpool or Arsenal winning that game next week, that'll give you the points. I think. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just to me, I don't know. I just feel it. It's gonna be a great game, um, and I think I think it's the clash of the two best teams in the league right now, and yeah, I just hope for a draw or a win, man. Just don't lose, because then that'll give them. Depending, I mean, hopefully they lose on Monday. Forget who they're
Yeah, that'd
playing.
be great. That'd be so funny too with all
Yeah,
the Ezak stuff. So,
yeah, it'd be
we
hilarious.
can hope.
Yeah, exactly. There's hope. Um, but yeah, I mean, that's I guess that's a wrap on the podcast here on the match review. Dude, I just want to thank you so much for coming in and coming and talking the Arsenal. It feels so much better to talk with somebody as opposed to talking on my own. I'm hoping that people that are listening, could like, oh my God, there's another voice. So that's great. Thank you so much, AJ. I appreciate you coming on, man.
No, I really appreciate you inviting me on and putting in, all the legwork for creating Shambles FC. I'm excited to come on a lot more with you, Mario. Always great to talk to, and always love talking about the Arsenal and football.
Yeah, for
So
sure,
appreciate it,
man.
bro.
No, thank you so much, brother. And yeah, everybody, thank you so much for listening to the podcast. You can find us on shamblesfc.com. We are on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We're also on YouTube. So if you could please go over there, give us a listen, even if it's for 5 minutes. Hey, man, that counts as a view. Give us a like if you do like the show, and also, provide a comment there. Let us know your thoughts on this game against Leeds. What are your takeaways? What did you like? What did you dislike? What do you think of the Liverpool game? Is it going to be a dub? Is it going to be an easy dub? Is it going to be hard? Are we going to lose? All the questions there. Just let us know how you would line up against Liverpool. Thank you so much for listening. We'll talk to you on the next one. Have a good night.